Here on the Zone 105.9 and worldwide at thezone1059.com.
All right, here we go. I'm back with you after a little bit of time away for spring break. That was good. Got it in. Spring break was good last week, minus the severe weather, really severe weather at the end of the week. Minus that, it was a good spring break for us. A little time away. What about you? Did you enjoy it? Well, we're all back, aren't we? And here it is on this Reaction Monday. But it's sort of, what else can we call it? Bracket Monday? What's the question? Everybody was asking everybody today. You filled out your bracket yet? Have you filled out your bracket yet? Oh, and also getting pinched if you weren't wearing green, because today is St. Patrick's Day. So happy St. Patty's Day, everybody. And now is about the time in the show here on a Monday where I would normally talk to Beaver. The problem is, like going back 2 weeks ago when the weather came through there and knocked out the telephone signal, and then it knocked out the power and all that stuff. And ever since then, there was an extra delay, and it made it harder for me to talk to Beaver when I'm not in the studio with him and I'm out and about like I am today. It's one of those weird things. So now's about the time I'd ask him about St. Patrick's Day. And does he observe it? and even though, yeah, it does make you think about, I don't know why, it does make me think about Always Sunny, when Dee did the Patty thing or whatever, and she had the red hair and the freckles and the green. And then here comes Green Man. I don't know what it has to do with anything. It does make me think of it. That's the music that I normally play when I talk to Beaver. So even though it's not a conducive situation to talk to him right now, I'll see if I can get that worked out during the course of the show. I did want to go ahead and play the music. Happy St. Patty's Day, everybody. You too, Will. He's the first to comment. All right, let me set it up here for you. Live today. In the Bureau, the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Studio, Farm Bureau Insurance, go! With the home team, they are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance, all across the great state of Mississippi. You can be a part of the show like Will if you're watching the live stream. You're on YouTube or Facebook or X, formerly Twitter. Just post a comment right there and I can see it. And I'll pop it up on the screen where everybody can see it. Will said, "Happy St. Patrick's Day, Matt." And look at all those four-leaf clover. Are those four leaves? The good luck ones? Why are they good luck? Anybody know? Because it's rare? I mean, just because something is rare does not make it good luck. I hate to be, the pragmatist here, pouring water all over your enthusiasm, your luck enthusiasm. But listen, just because something is rare doesn't make it good luck. There's got to be more to it than that. Really. Right. Because, then you would tell me, if that was the case, just something being rare, then you'd say that, hey, Mississippi State winning a home SEC baseball series is good luck because it's rare. What was that? And let me just tell you, okay, I'm going to get into this about getting swept on the opening weekend. And Texas is really good, and sometimes sweeps happen, but they're supposed to be hard to come by. Historically, across the long history of college baseball, particularly SEC baseball, and it's, specifically Mississippi State baseball, it is a hard thing to come by. An opponent can come into Starkville and sweep State on its own field. Been hard to come by historically. Well, buddy, It sure is happening a lot lately. And it happened again here opening weekend. Talk about, pouring water all over your enthusiasm at the beginning of the year. And then here would come all the stuff about it's a long year and all this. I get it, and it is, and that's baseball and whatnot. But I have a thought of something that I saw during yesterday's ball game between State and Texas that really irked me. It really put a bad taste in my mouth. And I even told Annabeth about it, and she was like, well, are you going to talk about it on the radio? And I was like, well, I don't know how I cannot talk about it on the radio. And then, you worry that you're going to hurt somebody's feelings or make them mad at you a little bit, but then that can't factor in. Anyhow, I know it sounds like I'm beating around the bush, but I'm going to get to it here pretty shortly. You can also be a part of the show today here on this Monday by texting me on the Country Pleasin' text line. Country Pleasin' sausage on grocery store shelves all around the Southeast. It is the best sausage, hands down. For real. Not just my opinion. Ask them. You better call somebody. The number to text is 885-3776. Got it? 601 number, 885-3776. Another good way to remember that number, 885-ESPN. And you can call me. And I wish you would. Because I got a cold. I don't want to do all the talking. I want you to talk some too. So call me on the Davini phone, the Davini Equipment phone line. The number to call is 897-1059. That's a 601 number, 897-1059. Call me. Let me know what you think. Patches and Nick, I'm coming to your texts. Will and Hail State fan, your comments on the live stream, coming to that. But top of the hour, time for...
Good evening.
Headlines.
I'm Ron Burgundy, and this is what's happening in your world.
Good evening, and welcome to Eyewitness News.
Here's what's making news.
Headlines brought to you by the Mortgage Man Group, powered by Illuminate Bank right here in the Metro, and our man Went McGee. Went! You might know where Went? Had to. Sorry, had to. Look him up online at mortgagemanms.com. All right, look. State and Ole Miss men's basketball, they're in the tournament. Ole Miss is 6, State's an 8. 8 and a 6. Playing this weekend. More on that coming up. How high are your hopes? Fill out your bracket. In the baseball world, Southern Miss took 2 out of 3 this weekend from Old Dominion. And the first two, just both in blowout fashion. Beat them 11-2 on Friday. Beat them 11-4 on Saturday. But Old Dominion rebounded, avoided the sweep on the road. Got a 4-1 win yesterday over Southern Miss to salvage a game. And Southern Miss will get ready to host red-hot Ole Miss. Well, I say red-hot. They played well this weekend. But Ole Miss, I say host, Ole Miss and Southern Miss tomorrow night, Trustmark Park in Pearl. Midweek clash between Southern and Ole Miss tomorrow night in Pearl at 6 p.m. So speaking of Ole Miss, cooled off a little bit. Arkansas took 2 out of 3 back into the series. Ole Miss took the first game. Arkansas wins game 2 in a blowout. And then Ole Miss had it. They had the series. They needed one more out. And Arkansas able to tie it up and then hit a 3-run shot and put up 12 runs, all totaled, 4 of them late in yesterday's game to win the series on the road. That was a really good win for Arkansas on the road. Good series win. Ole Miss playing well. They just couldn't close it out. So Arkansas was able to back in that series and win it 2 out of 3. So Ole Miss will head to Pearl tomorrow night off of 2 straight losses. State swept at home by Texas. Had their opportunities. None of the games were really of the blowout fashion. A 1-run loss in game 1 and just couldn't score runs game 2, game 3. And so it's an 0-3 weekend at home for State. Couldn't scratch. Good Texas team. Are they that good? State's got a long way to go. State's just not good. They're just not good. They got a lot of good players. They've got a lot of talent. You know, you hear all those things. You know, arms, good coach, all that stuff. But they are not a winning operation. So those are your headlines. Last headline here is elsewhere in the SEC. Tennessee swept Florida. And this is baseball. Tennessee swept Florida this weekend. Georgia took 2 out of 3 from Kentucky. Auburn took 2 out of 3 from Vandy this weekend in Auburn. Really, really good series win for Butch Thompson and the Auburn baseball team. Alabama swept Texas A&M. I don't know what's happening at A&M, but they're in the tank. They were ranked number 1 for some reason, and they are not number 1. Just got swept by Alabama. Oklahoma took 2 out of 3 from South Carolina this weekend. And a perfect weekend for top-ranked LSU, sweeping Missouri this weekend, and not a lot of surprise there. So those are your headlines here to start the show. Brought to you by the Mortgage Man Group, powered by Illuminate Bank. My man Went. Look him up online at mortgagemanms.com. Texts, comments coming up right now. Over to the phone lines. We're going to start this week the way we started last week. Or one day last week anyway, with a phone call from MSU Podcast Bro on line 1. What's up, bro?
Nothing much. You hear me all right?
Yep, loud and clear.
All right, well, it's too late to just fire all the coaches and bench all the players. Now we got to boil them in soap and sell the fat for oil. It's too late. It's just got to keep them from contaminating the rest of the world.
It's that bad, huh? Boil them in oil? Oh, no, boil them in soap.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, now that I did the way too dramatic hyperbole,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with this team.
Yeah.
I listen to every game, and they sound like they're right there at times, and then I don't know. There's just something missing.
Yeah. They look to me like a nice collection of ball players, but they don't look like a team that as a team does all the little things consistently that you have to do to win. Base running, fielding, all that, all those little things that are boring, that if you practice them, you get tired of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And all those, like one-run game, ball, they go pick-off move to first base. Texas does. The first baseman's not even there, throws it all the way up into right field, and you get thrown out at the plate trying to score from second base, in a one-run game. Stuff like just it's a whole collection of little things. They do a lot of the big things well. They hit it pretty well. They pitch it pretty well. They didn't give up double digits at any point. You rob a home run in center field yesterday. They do some of the big things well. But all these little things that are the thread that kind of ties you into a big, team unit, they don't do any of that stuff very well.
I know. I've noticed something else quite a bit lately, where they speak, when they're down late, and they'll start a rally and then just
yeah. It just
and
goes
I
on.
don't get it. It's just I don't know if that's coaching, bad luck, or if it's just that this bunch of players the last couple of years just do not play together much until they're right in the middle of the season. I don't know what it is.
I don't either. And I'm not an expert. And the thing is, Jason, I'm not I'm not watching their workouts and in their meetings and knowing what their chemistry is and all that kind of stuff. It's just when you see the ball get kicked around in certain situations and like that, getting, one-run game, you got runners at first and second. They throw a ball. It's like one out. They throw a ball away trying to pick you off, and you get thrown out at home by a mile trying to score from second base. All these little things that make a big difference when the margin is thin anyway. And I think, unfortunately, if I were to be critical, Jason, of the way the team has looked under Lamona's, that's kind of a consistent thing, frankly, with all these teams is early in the year, it looks like a team that doesn't do a lot of the details well, base running and fielding bunts. And it's like, do you remember a couple of years ago when they were awful, how teams would, early in the year, opposing teams would get runners on first and third, right? First and third. And over and over and over, it kept happening where opponents would intentionally leave first base to draw a throw to second base to try to bring the run home. And State had it took them 5 games to figure out how to even handle that. And these are guys who they've done it before. They just weren't prepared for it. Well, those things, that sort of frazzled look in the details early every year is starting to become a little bit of a pull your hair out thing for State fans, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Well, maybe I don't know, it's so confusing to me how they're not coming out prepared for this stuff when what he did during COVID when they were all shut down and that team came out the next year just blowing the doors off people.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs to just revisit whatever he was doing in that off season because it clearly worked. He had that whole bunch of experienced players and then the new guys too.
Yeah.
But it seems like especially since the national championship, they've been just really just off.
Yeah, I agree. It has not been right ever since that title. It's just not been the same thing.
Anyway, obviously he's still getting plenty of good players. I don't know, and they're right there. It's just you can see that something is just a tiny bit off, and I can't figure it out.
Appreciate it, Jason. Good to hear from you.
All right, y'all have a good one.
You
Bye-bye.
too. And I promise, Patches, Nick, Hunter, Dog Tired, Patrick, all y'all, I'm coming to your text, but I got to throw something in there on the end of my conversation with Jason. Jason said, just can't figure it out. What is it? Something's off. Let me tee up something for you. I teased it earlier. And I observed this watching yesterday's game, Game 2. It didn't sit well with me. It's really bothered me since then because there's just no way to defend it. And it makes me feel, when I bring this up to you, it's going to make me feel like, well, they've lost, and so I'm looking for things, but I just couldn't help but notice it, all right? You're down in Game 3 in the last inning of a series you're about to be swept if you don't come from behind. That's how tight this is. And at the time that I saw this in that last inning, it was either a 1-run or a 2-run game at that point. You're about to get swept. You've lost the first 2. You're at home. You have literally 3 outs left. You're already down a run or 2. I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 because I think it was maybe during a pitching change, but I'm not sure. It could have been in the change over the innings. Last inning of the last game. Getting your fanny handed to you all weekend, including in this game. You're down to what few outs you have left to try to pull off a miracle. And the TV camera, cuts to a tight shot of the State dugout. And I see 2 players talking and one of them smiling, having a good time. And then right beside them, I see 2 other players in the same shot, and they're laughing about something different conversation. On my TV screen, in that moment, you're about to get swept. You got 3 outs left unless a miracle happens. At home. And I got, on my TV screen, I can see about, because it's a tight shot of the dugout, I can see about 6 players, and 4 of them are smiling and laughing and having a good time. Smiling, laughing, having a good time. 3 outs from Sweetville. And I'm old. I'm an old guy. Maybe things are different now. But it really got under my skin. because I can't help but think, Jason, maybe that's what's missing. Maybe that's why there's just no edge there to win close games and you're getting swept at home, is because maybe, just maybe, losing doesn't bother you bad enough. And, okay, maybe those guys aren't starters. Maybe they are. I don't know. I don't care who they are. One is bad enough, let alone 3 or 4 cracking smiles, a laugh, yuck, yuck, pat us on the back. What I'm telling you is it kind of made me sick, okay, because I'm an old guy and a State fan and a former athlete that I know what it feels like to be getting your tail handed to you. And I honestly don't recall very many situations, if any, as a player in a different sport where I felt like I was not willing to let anyone see me laughing and cutting up while we're about to get beat. It just sent all the wrong signals to me about sort of like the competitiveness and the ticked offness nature that you have to have when you're getting whipped and about to get swept. I'm not saying that Lemonis just lets it go. He may not have even seen it. What I want to know is, where's that come from? Even as an individual. What are you happy about? Stick around.
I'm Eddie Hawkins with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
Grew up on a family farm out past Leland, just born and raised here in the Mississippi Delta. Never really thought about moving out. You know, it's where my roots are. Our family's a big sports family. It was 4 boys and 1 girl, and all 4 of us boys went and played ball at Delta Community College. My dad, he's always been honestly a role model of mine. He's farmed his whole life. We attend St. James Catholic Church in Leland, where we went to church my whole life, and then now continuing my family, me and my wife and my 3 kids. Being a Christian is everything for me and my family. Being born and raised here in this area, there's just something about this area. I mean, when you pull into it, you don't see a whole lot, but being born and raised here and the farm families and just the people that grew up here, the people that you see here, you see in the grocery store, you go to church with, small town community, you're gonna run into people that you know. It puts a smile on your face knowing that you know the people in your area, in your community. Get to know them as friends and now bring them in to my office here and creating that relationship, extending it on, getting them as insureds, as customers of mine, who I call friend. I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau, and we are the home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and murraywest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. When I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, murraywest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough.
Back with you, I'm Matt. In the Bureau, the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. Hail State fan commented on YouTube and said, on the bright side, State softball wins the first series ever at Alabama. Listen, that softball team deserves our support. Who knows what they're going to do going forward, but for what they are doing and have done so far, it's time to get in. If you're a State fan, you might as well. I'm just telling you. And it's a fun sport to watch. I'm fixing to start watching more of it. I promise you, they got me. They're beating everybody they're not supposed to. And so thanks for bringing that up, Hail State fan. Yeah, that's one group that you can really be proud of. Sammy commented on Facebook. He said, when the going gets tough, the tough don't get going for MSU baseball. And one thing you don't want is people calling out your toughness. Steve said, would that behavior happen under Polk? I don't know. But let me say this. I really, that's why I sort of hesitated, and I knew we had to talk about it, but it's not always comfortable. Okay. Because you do, you don't, if you like me in my shoes, you don't want to run the risk of blowing something up into something it's not. It's just that I saw it with my own eyes. It's the last inning of game 3. You've lost the first 2 and you're down in this one with 3 outs left. If there was ever crunch time during regular season baseball at Mississippi State, that is crunch time. Got it? You're about to get swept. You're trailing by a run or 2 with 3 outs left, and they cut to the dugout. You know what I don't want to see? Smiles. And I darn sure don't want to see laughter. Period. End of story. Okay? And the thing about it is, you take collectively us as State baseball fans, but I just speak for myself. I'm pretty, I've reached a point in my life where I'm going to root for them regardless. I watched all those games, a lot of those games when they couldn't offense their way out of a wet paper sack a couple of years ago. The pitching staff was the worst in school history. They're getting their brains beat in every weekend. Yeah, okay, whatever, life goes on. Let's have a good time in the sunshine at the ballpark, eat some sausage. That's good. Especially when maybe you don't have as much talent, but if you're giving all you got and you're straining your guts out and competing like crazy and locked in, you're just getting beat by better players, okay, fine. I can live with it. I don't want to see getting swept at home opening weekend and you got things you're happy about in the dugout with 3 outs left. What's funny? I like jokes. Tell me the joke. What kind of atmosphere we got in the dugout? Okay, where's my senior leader? I guess we don't have seniors anymore in college sports, do we? Where's the veteran leader who walks up and says, hey, shut up? Either get your mind right or go home. Not in my dugout. Where are they? Listen, let me just explain something to you. It's a different sport that I played, and I'm an old guy now. I'm starting to get gray hair. Okay? My brother-in-law, roommate, classmate, former quarterback at State, Rob Morgan, today is his 49th birthday. Happy birthday, Rob. Love you. Last year in our 40s, or yours anyway. But listen, I know it was a long time ago. Can you imagine what would have happened to me and Rob if we'd been on our bench right down from Jackie Sherrill and Joe Lee Dunn, if we were losing to somebody and we were having a good time on the sideline, smiles and cutting up? I'm saying our coaches wouldn't even have to handle it. Can you imagine what would have happened to us from older players? Can you imagine what Greg Favors would have done to me if he caught me happy during a loss? And no, we didn't win a national championship, but you know what? We were good every year and more than competitive and really good at home every year. Part of it was the attitude. I don't want to make too big of a deal out of this. I'm just saying I saw it with my own eyes. What do you have to possibly be happy about if you're in a maroon and white uniform about to get swept? Lock in, dial up the competitiveness, or go home. I'd rather root for somebody with less talent, a dirtbag from, Starkville High School, who is ticked off to be trailing in the last inning. I'd rather root for that than a talented, I don't give a flip. That's what I want. Give me 9 Mississippi kids who would rather cut their left arm off than have to get swept at Duty Noble Field on the opening weekend. Give me 9 of those, no matter how untalented they are, and I will buy a ticket for every weekend. I'm starting to sweat. I'm too old for this. All right, listen up. Texts are coming up. We're going phone line first. First up on the Davini Equipment phone line, on line 1, it's Rooster. I hope we can hear Rooster. Last time he tried to call, we couldn't hear him. Rooster, you got the floor. What's up?
Yeah, I want to call back since I had
good to hear from you.
difficulties. I heard a response,
Mm-hmm.
If I said Jeremy and Billy Bean, would you know what I'm talking about?
Well, okay. What was the first name?
Jeremy.
Jeremy Bean and Billy Bean?
No, Billy Bean. Billy Bean and Jeremy. Billy Bean is a coach. Jeremy is a player.
Yeah, okay. I think I know who
it's
Billy
the
Bean
scene
is.
in the movie, Moneyball.
Oh, Moneyball, yeah.
And it's exactly what Matt is on a tirade today about. That's exactly right. It's a great scene in the movie where Jeremy is in there having fun after they've lost, and Brad Pitt comes in and destroys the dressing room.
Uh-huh.
Like, why are you having fun? Is losing fun? Why are you having fun?
Yeah.
That was a great movie.
Yeah, what's fun about it? I mean,
and Rooster takes credit for that. Billy Bean, I predicted, ain't going to make it. Of course, the thing with the movie is those 20 games they won in a row, Oakland. Fantastic movie. But you're exactly right. You don't have fun when you're losing, no matter if it's baseball, football, tiddlywinks. No.
Yeah, right.
You don't want to lose. But I don't want to talk about baseball. I want to talk about basketball.
Okay, basketball. Let's hear it.
And listen, I take credit for all kind of stuff. I was married 30 years to the bus driver's cousin. I take credit for Duty Noble. Nobody's more upset than I am. I mean, I go back to the 40s, Octavia County. But I don't want to talk about it. No. We got 27 games to go,
Yeah.
27 SEC games to go.
Yeah.
I want to talk about basketball because, they play a big game, they'll beat Baylor, but then they got to play Duke. I think that's right.
Yeah, that's if they beat Baylor, they probably play Duke.
They'll beat Baylor. They're going to beat Baylor's favored, but State will win that game.
Right.
I mean, Gans coaching his butt off, and he's losing. The team is just jinxed. That's what it is. They're getting out-coached. Not his fault. It's luck and all this stuff. They'll beat Baylor, and then they got to play Duke. Come on, number one team in the country. Everybody says it's Auburn, but I say no, it's Duke. Take your pick, one or two or whatever. But, again, I agree with Matt's tirade. And to come in where we left off, Rooster does not have a wife. I heard that after the phone got cut off. No, okay. I'm looking for a wife number 2 in my old age. You know?
We just all we heard. Get that clarified. All we heard was road noise, and we were like, "Man, I hope he didn't get hit by a car or dropped his phone out the window." Yeah, that's when we said, "Well, maybe your wife threw it out," but we didn't know. Okay, so all is well that ends well.
A lot of emergency room trips in my life, a bunch.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
80-year-old jock.
All right. Appreciate it, Rooster. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, and thanks for the remembrance of the Billy Bean, and that's a great movie.
You know, I have only watched segments of that movie. I've never sat down and watched the whole thing. I got to do that.
Well, so many Mississippi connections. He played baseball here. I knew he wouldn't make it. And we got Farfield baseball players in the movie, and it's just a great movie. It was pretty right on. Of course, it's a movie.
Yeah.
But that scene was one of the greatest scenes in there when he comes in and destroys the dressing room because he's up on a table dancing and having fun after a loss.
Yeah.
And who would have believed that they would have won 20 games in a row? I mean,
I already said all this.
What? With the team that he had. A bunch of misfits, but it was a team. They were motivated.
All right, we got it. Rooster, we got to split. I appreciate your phone call very much. It's good to hear from you. It also, I want to go back and that scene on, what is it, Bull Durham, where they threw the bats in the shower and he starts giving them the speech and you lollygag onto the field. You lollygag to first base. You know what that makes you? Carl, lollygaggers. Lollygaggers. I need to go back and watch that one too. Stop lollygagging. We'll stop the lollygagging when we come back, get to Winslow, who's on the phone, and get to some of our texts. We're way backed up. I promise I'm going to read them, and thank you for getting in here today. I've just been ranting, using up all the time. Stick around.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com, at a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
Grew up on a family farm out past Leland, just born and raised here in the Mississippi Delta. Never really thought about moving out. You know, it's where my roots are. Our family's a big sports family. It was 4 boys and 1 girl, and all 4 of us boys went and played ball at Delta Community College. My dad, he's always been honestly a role model of mine. He's farmed his whole life. We attend St. James Catholic Church in Leland, where we went to church my whole life, and then now continuing my family, me and my wife and my 3 kids. Being a Christian is everything for me and my family. Being born and raised here in this area, there's just something about this area. I mean, when you pull into it, you don't see a whole lot, but being born and raised here and the farm families and just the people that grew up here, the people that you see here, you see in the grocery store, you go to church with, small town community, you're gonna run into people that you know. It puts a smile on your face knowing that you know the people in your area, in your community. Get to know them as friends and now bring them in to my office here and creating that relationship, extending it on, getting them as insureds, as customers of mine, who I call friend. I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau, and we are the home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the prairie wildlife, Ole Miss.
And worldwide at thezone1059.com.
All right, back with you. I'm Matt in the Bureau. I promise I'm coming to the texts. I have not ignored them. We've just been doing phone calls. Mostly me ranting. Speaking of phone calls, over to the phone line, the Davini Equipment phone line on line 2. It's Winslow on this Monday. Hey, Winslow, what's up?
Mayor, how are you doing?
I'm just right. Hanging in there.
Yeah. Well, let me say first, I'm not going to make any excuses for what happened because, before I got back into the game, so to speak, I was a fan for many, many years. So I'm still a fan at heart, and every now and then I catch myself, they don't allow cheering in the press box, and I'll catch myself with my hands about 3 inches apart, ready to clap, and I'm going, oops, you can't do that. So, I will say, about half of the folks in the press box are state people that just took this profession. Some of them are, younger folks kind of on their way through, moving up and everything. Yeah. But there were a lot of, sighs and frustrated exhaling and everything going on. As for the players, I didn't see what you're talking about, so I can't speak to it. The only 2 players that we talked to this weekend, on Friday we talked to Noah Sullivan, and then Sunday we talked to Bryce Chance. And Bryce is one of the I believe he's a senior academically, but he's a junior eligibility-wise. Okay. But he's one of the leaders of the team. They don't have captains, but probably if you ask the team, they would probably say Bryce and Noah are the 2 leaders. Both of those young men, they were not smiling. In fact, Bryce looked dead serious yesterday. Mm-hmm. But he also stepped up and basically took responsibility and said, we're going to have to do better. So at this point, I have to wait and see because I don't think they've been tested like this the season so far. And so I won't say that the season's on the brink, but basically I think the term I used was they're gonna get a chance to show their mettle, what they're made of. Right. And they've got a tough situation right now because they've got to go on the road for 2 series. Mm-hmm. Which if they thought that playing at home was tough, just wait until they get to Oklahoma and especially LSU. And maybe probably the one thing is that I believe one of those games at LSU is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. So, but there'll still be 11,000 people there on Thursday night.
Right. Well,
but, you know.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in real quick, Winslow, and say that, you know, and sometimes going on the road with your backs against the wall is good, you know, to galvanize a team. You know, and it does also speak, doesn't it, to sort of the era that we live in, that you look up here and, you know, the two leaders that you mentioned, you know, one has been here a long time, Bryce Chance, and he's a kid from Mississippi, and the other's not. The other's a first-year player.
Yeah, you're right about that. But from what I've seen, I mean, Noah Sullivan stepped in, and maybe it's because he's a dual position player. He pitches. He's the DH, and being the DH, that means that he sits in the dugout and he gets to talk with a lot of the other players, you know, while they're on defense.
Yeah.
But he's looked up as one of the leaders, and there's probably several others. But, you know, generally during a game, you know, we can request certain players to talk to. Most of the time we get those, and I think the only time that we've not had a player to talk to was after that Georgia fiasco last year. And obviously, you know, you didn't really need to hear from anybody but Lamonis after that.
Right.
But I'll say this, you know, people ask a lot of questions. Somebody asked yesterday, why don't you try to score from second on a pickoff throw? And we asked Lamonis that, you know, and it's one of those where, you know, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know, and anyway, I would say the thing for me too, Winslow, is like there's a lot of things that they're doing well. A lot of the big things they're doing well. You know, they're hitting the ball pretty well, even as compared to a lot of these other SEC teams. You know, they hit the ball pretty well. Teams are not collectively hitting for a very high average against State's pitching. I mean, like as a staff, they're not giving up a ton of hits, you know, and again, they're right up there at the top of the SEC in that in terms of opponent batting averages. A lot of the big things are doing. There's just an edge there they've got to find that's just missing. And it's a little confusing. I guess the hope is that, okay, it's early in the year, they'll put it together. But you're right. Boy, they better put it together quick or it could get ugly quick.
Yeah, and if last year's any indication, the pitching is only going to get better as the year goes along. Now, I know it raises an anxiety level among fans that, you know, you may lose your chance at hosting early in the year and you may not be able to recover that. But I don't know what you do about that. I mean, you know, if you've even been halfway behind the scenes, you know that those coaches, you know, leave no resource unused as far as trying to understand the game and teach the players and understand what each one of them can do and what we used to call the pluses and the deltas. You know, what are your strengths and what do you need to change? But what can you say when you have a team like Texas that comes in? There's a reason they won 17 in a row.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, I think we may get a better idea of what this team really is when they go to Oklahoma, because that's probably more of their peer level. And then we'll see what happens at LSU. It's funny, even the bad state teams have always done well in Baton Rouge. So we'll see. But I don't want to take up too much time. Just got a chance to call in and talk with you a little bit.
Well, I appreciate it, Winslow. It's always good to hear your voice. Thanks for the phone call. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
thank you. Yeah, and you know, in terms of pitching, you look up the numbers. I mean, again, collectively as a staff, they're really good. Tennessee and Mississippi State giving up the fewest hits, opponent batting average, everything of pitching staffs in the SEC. But so they do a lot of the big things, but there's a lot of little things. You did play a really good team. You were competitive. And I guess what I need to say, too, is, again, I knew that I would feel this way just bringing it up and talking about it. You'd start to feel like, you know, gosh, I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill. just because you lose, right? Like you're losing, so you get mad at everything. The water doesn't taste as good. But they may completely turn the thing around, have a great year. They do have a lot of good players. They are doing a lot of things well. They are doing things well that are improvements from, what they have improved at the plate. They have improved on the mound. All that's fine to me. Like I wouldn't rant and rave about any of that. The tangible things to do with baseball. It's just, I don't want to see them, one guy, let alone 3 or 4 of them, on the TV cameras, when they cut to the dugout, you're down a run or 2 in the last inning, about to get swept. I don't want to see smiles and laughter for any reason. It just ain't, it ain't like that. It don't need to be like that. It can't be like that. Weed that out. That's all I'm saying. Well, that was a heck of an hour of radio. Let's see here. 42 minutes ago, Hunter texted me. He said, I just want one win from the Bulldogs. Just one. He's talking about basketball. Patrick texted and said, I've been saying it since the national championship. We've not had a dirt bag in this program since then. We need dirt bags. All I see are kids wearing 10-chain sunglasses when it's cloudy. Swag this, swag that. And Patrick said, this is not the same culture we had before Lemonis got here. He's ruined it. Lemonis won early because of players he didn't recruit. Earl and Madison texted. He said, Matt, I'm with you. These players smiling during what should be sort of bummer moments. Ole Miss players doing the exact same thing during a blowout loss on Saturday. Maybe it's just different now. Maybe it is. I don't know. But heck, you're paying them now. That's all the more reason to take it seriously and be a little upset when you're losing. You're getting paid. And that's another thing that, let's see how the year plays out. This is not a conversation really to have now. You got to let the year play out. But Winslow said, Texas has won 17 in a row for a reason, and going to Oklahoma this weekend, a little bit more of State's competitive level. Well, my question is why? Are you that, is State's baseball program that hard up for funds to pay players to get them to come play for you? That now you just got to throw your hands up and say, look, Texas is just better. They ain't better. We'll be better off against teams like Oklahoma. We can compete with them, but not Texas. Really? When did that happen? How much more money do they need? Scratching my head on that one, too. All right. I'm going to rattle off all these texts. We're going to get caught up. I can't wait to see what y'all are saying over here on the Country Pleasing text line when we come back and start hour 2. Stick around.
I was born and raised in Greenville. I've always called Greenville home. This is where I, was raised, went to high school, graduated high school, worked all my life here leading up to going to college. So even when I moved from Greenville, I always told people, they asked me where you're from, I always said I'm from Greenville. I have mother, father, brother, niece, aunt, all live here in Greenville. So this is home. This is where I, live, and I've just always called it home. Small town, I feel like I could walk in any place tomorrow and know 2 to 3 people in there. It's small town. Someone's on the side of the road broken down. Hey, you need a boost, flat tire, you need help changing it. That's just kind of, what I love about this area. The blues and the food and everything that comes along with the Mississippi Delta that I love. I tell people all the time, my business cards have my cell phone number on them for a reason. Insurance doesn't happen from 8 to 5. When you need me, it's going to be after 5. It hardly ever happens where you have a wreck, get pulled over, need an insurance card, wind blows, shingles off your roof. All these things happen, and it's typically after 5. And so the ability for someone to call me, get in contact with me, text me, ask me a question, and that's what it's about to me, is helping the people that we serve, is taking care of people, and them knowing that they can count on me whenever they need me. I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. When I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online. MurrayWest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
Shed those tears, that's love. That's real love. Sometimes as dads, I think we're too hard on ourselves. Life can come at you really quick, and it can be really tough at times. But then you put that one foot in front of the other, and you keep doing the right thing. Slowly that voice goes away, Wrap away, you gotta pray for yourself, as well as for everybody else, but never forget yourself.
Never stop being a dad. That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
We asked parents who adopted teens.
I'm 𝐌𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐢 with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. When I say they do quality stuff, they really do.
With more of the Matt Wyatt Show coming to you direct and live at the Zone 105.9 and worldwide.
Now, here we go.
Go at thezone1059.com.
All right, here we go. Hour number 2 of the show, off and running with you. I'm Matt. In the Bureau, the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau. I'm Matt. Beaver is here. You're here. Most importantly, you are here. Therefore, we got a reason to be here. Got the whole gang, so you can be a part of the show. Text me, call me, comment on the live stream. Let's go to the texts. And as we were talking about baseball, getting swept at home. And, I was just a little perturbed because it's late inning of a second game of a doubleheader. You're about to get swept, and I saw a couple of smiles and some laughing and having a good time in a dugout. Right before, like 3 outs before, you had to go shake their hand and congratulate them on whipping your fanny for 3 games. And if you like that, sure, I guess go ahead and have a good time. But what are you getting paid to do? See, and Sven talks about it. He says these are professional players now, and if they can't handle it, they are not the right guys for a baseball program like Mississippi State. As hard as it sounds, but he said, let's kick in reality. I mean, just show the clip. It's right there on TV. And just use it to make an example. I'm not saying be harsh enough to go ahead and run somebody off, but you might threaten to do it. Show the whole team. Say, hey, boys, look. There's a lot, not everything's going to bounce our way. Okay, I get it. And I'll take what's mine. But this right here is bad, 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 bad. And I know we got a road trip this weekend, but because of this right here, see this was caught on, I'm talking about in the clubhouse, in the meeting room, on the video board. I'm showing this if I'm coaching. See this? Here's the clip. We're about to lose and get swept at home. And look, we got 3 to 4 in here having a good time on national television for everybody to see. So here's what we're going to do. It's my responsibility as a coach to make sure you understand this won't fly. It's also my job as a coach, and we'll get to that. Apparently we haven't gotten to it, but it's my job as a coach to get to the point where when you are losing as a team, you're not happy about anything. You can't be happy. You can't be this happy. But we'll get to that. But it's also my job to just make sure you understand this won't fly at Mississippi State. So here's what we're about to do because of this right here, this one video clip, and I realize may have caught you at a bad time, but I'm on the other end of the dugout. I didn't get to see it happen, and I'm seeing it now. So what we're going to do is, as a team, every single one of us, we're about to run, and you're not going to like it. Some of y'all are making more than I am. You're not going to like it. But let me just tell you something. We're going to run. If I were you, I wouldn't wear your best shoes. I'll see you out there in 5 minutes. Hey, at least try, right? Because I got news for you. If it's a situation where you just got to throw up your hands because you're paying them, well, I'm like Curly Bill or Curly, whatever his name was on Tombstone. Well, bye. Don't let the door hit you. All right. Country Pleasing text line. Somebody texted and said, I heard someone say this morning, and I agree 100%. We have nice players, but not dogs. Gritty players. Nick texted the show. He said, I saw that too, Matt. Unacceptable. Not once do I remember Tanner Allen, Rowdy Jordan, Jake Mangum, Wes Ray, Jonathan Holder, etc. doing anything like that. Somebody needs to light a fire under their butts. Hog Jowl texted the show. He said, a quick comment about Hog basketball. I'm really proud of them just to make the big dance. 14 SEC teams. How about that, Hog Jowl? He said, I think this may be one of Cal's best coaching years. He took over with 0 players on the team. They lost their first 5 SEC games, then lost their 2 best players to injuries. Could have folded, but didn't. Hey, I agree with you. It is a heck of a turnaround. Really, it might be one of his best coaching jobs, no doubt. J-Rock texted the show. Hey, Matt, I agree with you about the dugout demeanor. Maybe it's because so many new players every year just doesn't mean as much to them to be a Bulldog baseball player. Well, here's the problem I have with it, J-Rock. Again, is you know, here's the thing, J-Rock. Let's frame this thing up. Sven said a dose of reality, kick in reality. So let's give it a dose of reality. You ready, J-Rock? Listen, see if you agree with this. J-Rock, you and I are going to be around pulling for state baseball long after everybody in their uniforms and every one of the coaching staff are long gone off doing something else. You're in it for the long haul. And if you're going to be getting beat, you could at least be doing it with people who, by George, they want to be there and are thankful to be there. They feel like, you know, players that feel like state has done them a favor by giving them an opportunity to play there versus the other way around. Players thinking they've done state a favor by coming there. Again, I'm not accusing any particular individual. I'm just saying if you're going to get beat, which you're getting beat, find that out. That's all I'm saying. Find it out. I'm saying as a state fan, I can take it. If guys are absolutely locked in, fighting red-faced mad when they lose, giving every bit of effort. I know baseball is different than other sports, but I'm saying I can handle that if that's the situation, and they just, frankly, in some situations, maybe not as talented, but are losing sleep at night because they're losing. Guess what? I can handle it. I'm with you. I'll be there. You let me, I'm just telling you already, I got my hand up. You let me one more time see us patting each other on the back, having a giggle when we're about to get swept. Let me see it one more time. Guess what? I'm out. Out. Somebody texted the show, said, you hit the nail on the head, lack of discipline, winning mentality. I can't imagine laughing when I'm about to get swept at home in the best atmosphere in college baseball. Common denominator is Coach Lemonis. But here's the thing about it. You know, it doesn't have to be a, what if it's a player who wasn't playing? You know, what if it's a backup, somebody who's not in? Okay, still, there's just a certain, you know, atmosphere I think you have to have. And that's for any sport. Any sport. Your bench in basketball, you know, football. Somebody texted in and said, you don't have leadership, no Jake Mangum, Tanner Allen, Will Clark, Rowdy Gaines. With the transfer portal, you don't have that leadership being passed down. Okay, so if you overcome that in the transfer portal by buying the best players, what do you need? What's that going to take? What's it take if you want to go out and load the wagon and go get you a team like LSU has? How much does it cost? You know? Bodine texts the show. He said, Matt, I have a great niece that plays softball at Hines. You're talking about great competition, just fun to watch. Women's college softball. Thanks for giving Mississippi State's women's softball a shout out. Love the show. Yeah, they're playing great. Won a series at Alabama, first time ever. And it is. You know, you watch the game on TV, it's real fast. Everything happens quick. You blink, you'll miss it. Bucky from Vicksburg says, Coach yelled at me. I'm hitting the transfer portal with my NIL money, and I'm going to go play for Mr. Nice Coach. Let him go. See ya. Get out. Losing's losing. Might as well lose it with people who it bothers them. Old Tackle text the show. He said, where is Mike Leach folding chairs up when you need it? Right. Delta Tide fan said, kids are more worried about making extra money on the side than they are worried about winning ball games. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe a coach's hands are tied these days. I don't know. CB95 said, for baseball, for MSU baseball, said, I noticed the lose and laugh too. maybe a syndrome within the staff that we wanted a championship already, so we don't have to work hard anymore. The task was already accomplished. Well, see, that's the thing. I don't buy that. I mean, they're pros, and that was a long time ago. Heck, those kids in the dugout, how old were they when State won the national championship? What were they? Juniors, sophomores in high school, some of them? I mean, for real. Dog Tired in Florence. Let me catch up on his text. He said, regarding basketball, he gave 3 comments. The State men, number 1, history says they're not going to get past Baylor, but if they do, then they go second round against Duke, so they'll be 2 and done. He said the State women, if they get to the second round versus USC, their spectacular player 𝐁𝐮𝐫𝐽 𝐁𝐮𝐫𝐽 will destroy them by herself. And then he said number 3, State baseball is in real trouble. Again, Lemonis doesn't have any Canizero recruits left on his roster. This is all on him, according to Dog Tired. And then he said baseball teams used to be afraid to come to Starkville. Now they hope to play State for 8 weekends in a row. Whew. He said tear down the luxury suites and the heavily guarded outfield. Bring back the busted 65 Chevy with plastic chairs and a Walmart grill. Bring back Gary Henderson. Dog Tired, Rooster referenced Moneyball. The movie he was referencing was Moneyball. And then Dog Tired said, solution to NIL for State baseball players. Pay a prorated value after the season. Bonus is 125% for postseason appearances. Yeah, if you could do contracts, have written stuff, you could do all kinds of bonuses and qualifiers and everything, right? But I don't know if you can do that. You can get away with it. Unnamed texter said, best fans, best facilities, national championship, and completely gone backwards. He says, you're right, it's a culture and it starts at the top, and no reason smiles on the bench getting swept. And then he says, I bet I know what they were talking about. What do you think they were talking about? See, that's what I'm wondering, like, what do you think they were talking about? Jason in Flagstaff, Arizona, texted the show and said, people need to stop that abject nonsense. Lemonis won the national championship with ex-players. Okay, and he says, anyone else come home from Omaha other than empty-handed? Where is Coach X, by the way? He says, people can criticize now without mental gymnasticking themselves into utterly brain-dead territory about the national championship team. The thing for me, Jason, is the national championship thing doesn't even... it's just too long ago for it to really, really have much of a bearing on anything at this point. Thibodeau texts the show, and he says, I reckon Beaver's at home on a weekend and seeing sports results and thinking to himself, well, the first hour on Monday ought to be fun. Yeah, maybe so. Somebody said it all goes back to the head coach, Real C. My man, Real C, texts the show, and he says the term dirtbag is earned by players that'll do anything necessary to win. State has some great talent, but haven't seen a dirtbag since Tanner and the boys left. That's from Real C. And that's the thing about it. Baseball is so different that the whole, gritting your teeth, toughness, effort. Like, how do you judge effort in baseball? It looks a little different, doesn't it, than other sports? Like, you can see it a little more clearly to the naked eye in basketball and in football, and and even parts of baseball I would think are more similar to golf in that if you're not careful, you put too much effort into it. You screw yourself up with too much effort, like hitting that golf ball, but I get it. I just, mountain, molehill, I get it. They were competitive. They didn't get run off the field at any point. That's a good Texas team. Long season, much more. It could even be that that's the very thing that they need is to get that knot put on their head and go, okay. We do have some new players that for the first time understand, boy, hey, look, a couple of y'all can have a pretty nice weekend. Gonna lose. if that's all you have in the Southeastern Conference. But, maybe it's different going forward. And winning cures everything. They turn it around and start winning some series and get some upsets and start looking like a good baseball team, winning cures everything. You and I are having a whole different conversation. And the thing about it is, if you're winning, go ahead and laugh and smile in the dugout. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too. Maybe I have become old school. And maybe because of losing, I was looking for something to tick me off. I don't think it was. I just saw it. I'm like, what? What is this? Well, that'll wrap that up. On to basketball. Is that what y'all want? You want an hour and 45 minutes of basketball talk? Is that what you want? Hey, let me see if this delay is any better. I'm going to try to talk to Beeb. Hang on. Let's just see if it works. Hey, Beeb! No, see? Told you. Too much of a delay. Well, at any rate, happy St. Patrick's Day. From all the folks at Patty's Pub. Let's see, hold on. What did CB95 say? He said, does pay for play happen before or after the season? If you pay me before I'm playing, what's the incentive to play if you're not raised from the school of hard knocks? Well, there's some truth to that. But they're not. I mean, they're paying them to come. I don't know how it shakes out in terms of getting a paycheck every month. I really don't know. All right, Sven says it's on the bullpen. Sven said, Matt, we had nearly the same amount of hits as Texas. It was 10,000% on Coach Parker and his horrible bullpen. And he said, these guys are not ready for SEC play. Well, I'm almost exhausted from thinking about it. Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth in what you said. Not holding a lead and keeping things tight where you can have that chance to win that one-run ball game. And they, good Texas team. Let's see how they do this week. Let's just see how it goes. I think if we queue up headlines again, you already kind of know what the headlines are today, right, on this Monday?
Good evening. I'm Ron Burgundy, and this is what's happening in your world.
Good evening and welcome to Eyewitness News.
Here's what's making news.
Headlines brought to you by the Mortgage Man Group, powered by Illuminate Bank. Check them out online at mortgagemanms.com. Anything mortgage related in the state of Mississippi, that's where you're going to want to go. mortgagemanms.com. State and Ole Miss both are in the dance. Ole Miss is up against the winner of what? San Diego State, North Carolina in a play-in deal. Everybody in the world saying that North Carolina should be nowhere near the tournament, but they're in because of the brand. They are opposite of Iowa State, Lipscomb over there in the South region. At this point, I'm not even really sure where they play. In the East, your Bulldogs up against Baylor State, the 8, Baylor, the 9. Winner moves on to play the winner of top seed Duke versus the 16, whoever that's going to be. Mount St. Mary's or American, whatever. Whoever comes through that 16 play-in, they'll go up against Duke, have a real good time, get run out of town. And it'll be Duke versus the winner of State and Baylor in the round of 32. That'd be fun. Be fun, right? Get some build up for that. Hey, congrats, State, on beating Baylor. I know it's a tough game. Duke next. 14 teams from the SEC are in the dance. Fill out your bracket. Better hurry up. When they start playing? Thursday? Baseball this weekend. Around the SEC, here were your results. Texas swept State in Stark Vegas. The Vols of Tennessee swept Florida at home in Knoxville. Georgia got a series win at home in Athens, 2 out of 3 against Kentucky. Auburn was at home this weekend hosting Vandy and won 2 out of 3. Big series win for Auburn. Alabama went to Texas A&M, swept them 3-0. Arkansas on the road got 2 out of 3 at Ole Miss. Back into that series. Ole Miss won game 1. Hogs win the last 2 in dramatic fashion yesterday. Come from behind fashion. Oklahoma was on the road at South Carolina. Took 2 out of 3. And then LSU, top team in the country, no trouble this weekend at home in Baton Rouge, a 3-0 sweep of Missouri. Those are baseball results. Oh, and Southern Miss took 2 out of 3 from Old Dominion. They were dominant on Friday, Saturday. 11-2, 11-4. First 2 games combined outscored them 22-6. But then Old Dominion bounced back, salvaged the game yesterday, got a 4-1 win. And so tomorrow night, 6 p.m., Trustmark Park in Pearl, it's Southern Miss and Ole Miss. So nice little midweek fun for us. We'll have time as the week goes on to look ahead to weekend matchups and see who's what, when, and where. All right. Rolling along with you here in hour number 2. Staying connected to you because of C-Spire. The #1 network in Mississippi is C-Spire. Customer inspired. Check them out, cspire.com. Stick around.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. You know, when I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, you know, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there, Murray West. You can find them online. MurrayWest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I had this opportunity come up through a friend of mine that was an agent here at Farm Bureau that, you know, he said this may be something I like to do because he knew I was involved in the community, and what we do, we're supporting the community. We're doing stuff to protect the members of our community. I've been here almost a decade, and what we do, we help people every day through the products we sell. We make recommendations to them, stuff to protect their assets, protect their lives, their families, and, you know, we're local. We're local people. Everybody that works in this office has grown up here, lived here, played ball in this community. I've coached in this community, been on the park boards, the sports league boards, the booster club boards. The community is what's important here in Farm Bureau. We push the local community. We're a Mississippi company. That's a Washington School team ball from 2019. Greg Wallace was the head coach then, and him and I were really good friends. I've been in Greenville my whole entire life. My family's been here. This is home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to support the people of Washington County, protect them. I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County. We are the home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. What that is. That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, "Country pleasing, please." They'll know what you're talking about.
Back with you, I'm Matt. In the Bureau, the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Hunter texted me and he said, "Matt, did you eat any good seafood while you were down there at the Gulf?" No, I didn't. Wait. Yes, I did. One night I had cobia. What else did I have with that? There was some rice. Oh, and some mac and cheese. That was like this homemade stuff. It had some crab meat in it. Yes, but the cobia was good. But the thing that really stood out, I found a great. Okay, and look, I know this makes me, all you highfalutin foodies out there that, you guys that you're from North Mississippi, you went to school at State or Ole Miss, riding around with a Salt Life sticker on your truck. Okay. You wouldn't dare play golf in shorts and shirt, different brands. Okay, all of y'all are going to judge me when I say this. But, man, I found a dynamite Mexican food place down there. I'm talking dynamite. Went twice. I'm talking would go back just for the chips and salsa at the beginning. And they're proud of it. It's the biggest portions, too. Like, both times taking food back in a to-go bag. There's no way you could eat all of it. It's very expensive. Yeah, that's what stood out. It may stand out to you that I have not spoken with Beaver yet here on the show. I was dealing with a delay earlier that was going to make it sound like he was, a news correspondent from, the Middle East or something like that. Long delay. Maybe that's fixed. Let's try it again. Let's see. B!
Let's try.
All right, repeat after me. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Boom! The delay's gone, sir.
Oh, right on.
Happy Monday to you.
You too, Matt Wyatt.
You a big U2 fan?
No.
Okay.
They got some good stuff, but I never.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Most of it is I never liked Bono. Bono's. I told you how I don't like musicians who try to get political. Well, Bono tries to get in everything. I mean, he lectured me about saving the children in Uganda years ago, and he tries to be, hey, I'm a great humanitarian. Well, I don't want it. I don't want that.
Mm-mm. What you're saying, Beaver, is you listen to some YouTube, but you still haven't found what you're looking for.
Oh, Matt Wyatt.
Come on. You know that was a good one.
Yeah, I will give you that one. I liked it.
Good. What about the first hour of Ranty Matt? Did you like that? You don't care, do you?
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I mean, it was warranted.
Yeah. It's justified. I'm bona fide. Mama said I'm bona fide. That sound, let me just clarify, Beaver. I'm not in the bathroom. That sound you heard, I was pouring hot coffee into my cup. I just wanted to clarify. Hot coffee from High Point Roasters in New Albany, Mississippi. Beaver, so this text I got earlier from Thibodeau, where he wondered if you are at home on the weekends and you see certain sports results, and do you think to yourself, well, the first hour on Monday is going to be interesting. Does that ever happen?
Yes, absolutely. He's dead on. I knew with this sweep, because Friday afternoon, I was telling Jake, I said, man, depending on how many wins they get this weekend, if they win 2, then it's some World Series talk might start back up. If they win 1, it's a fine line. We're going to be back in, here in Fire Lamonas. So, of course, 0. Well, it's where we are now.
It's where we are. Hey, and I just thought of something, Beef. So this coming Friday, State plays basketball at like 11 a.m. or noon. And I guess the station here will be carrying that on Friday, won't they?
Yeah, we'll have that. So no Matt Wyatt show Friday.
Yeah. I'd rather hear Neil Price anyway. I think most everybody else would too. Yeah, hey, Beef. So Hunter asked me about seafood down there on the coast for spring break this week. And at one night I did have a big old slab of this grilled cobia. It was really good with everything that went with it and all that kind of stuff. But did you hear me talking about the Mexican restaurant?
Yeah.
Buddy, I don't know how to describe to you the size of the portions of food they brought. Like the first time I went, the menu was similar to any other Mexican food place I've ever been. Naturally, I'm thinking, okay, I got the first night I get steak fajitas, which is something I get in a lot of places. It's a certain size. Do you ever get fajitas at a Mexican joint?
Mm-hmm. Many times.
Okay, and so when you get fajitas and they bring you the tortillas, how many do they normally bring you initially?
3.
Right. Rolled up in some foil, right, to keep them hot. Man, this place came out with a roll of 5 tortillas, big ones. The plate, you know how you get the plate that has your meat and then all the fixins, the lettuce and tomatoes and the rice and the beans and everything that you want to make your fajitas with. Everything was twice the size of what I've normally experienced. The plate, I'll send you a picture of it, Beaver, because Annabeth said, hold that plate up. She took my picture. It is massive. There's no way one person could eat all that. And the menu did not specify, hey, this is for 2. Okay, Annabeth, Mary Liddy, they got their stuff. They took at least half of it in a to-go thing back to the room. So I felt a little, I don't know, what's the word here? Gluttonous? Felt a little gluttonous. But man,
is that twice the portions? Is that why it was twice the price?
I guess so. Really and truly. I guess so. Because, it was more expensive than your typical. But it's okay because I ate it the next day. Like they were on the beach and I'm like, I'm going back to eat. So I got in the room, I'm eating leftovers, but it was really good. And that's the other thing too, like you were paying more for it, but our waiter was super generous. Anything we wanted. He's like, you need a bag of chips to take? Sure, hold on. He brings us a bag of chips to take to the room with us. It's like they know. So, but I'm not at all embarrassed that went to the Went to the Florida coast and found Mexican food. I'm not embarrassed about it at all, B. Should I be?
No. It's your vacation. You do what you want. You eat what you want. You eat how much you want.
Hey.
If you got to tell your family, y'all stay on the beach, I'm going back to eat, so be it.
I did. I did just that. I tell you what else we had happen while we were down there is, Beav, we bought, not, I don't know, a year ago or whatever, one of those little countertop ice makers that it makes different kind of ice than what, our freezer makes. The freezer makes the big pieces of ice that are kind of like half moon shaped, like the typical thing. This machine, though, makes the small, crunchy, like Chick-fil-A ice. Are you one of these people, Beaver, who you get all up in arms about the type of ice that is served at places?
No, but it's so funny you mentioned specifically Chick-fil-A ice.
Yep.
Just a few weeks ago, and more than one occasion, I had someone tell me that they go to Chick-fil-A specifically to get ice.
Yeah. I
never knew this was a thing.
I used to hear people say that about Sonic. They would go just strictly but that's what Chick-fil-A has. The little beads of ice that are very easy to eat and they don't melt. But here's the thing, Beav. We bought this machine that makes that. It sits on the countertop. And so we're staying at the same place we were staying at last year, and we knew they didn't have an ice maker. So we took our ice machine with us. We hauled it all the way down there in the floorboard of the car and then took it in the room, plugged it up. We had ice all week. I thought it was a good move myself. Anyway, I'm glad to be back. It's like spring break was great. Mary Liddy really deserved and earned the time off, and she loves the beach. Likes to put her feet in the sand. We tried the water. It was really cold. Swimming around a little bit, but not much. But it was a well-deserved break for everybody. But it is good to be back. Kind of back, feet on the ground, and I'll look forward to being in the home Farm Bureau Insurance studio with you tomorrow in Jackson. All right, a little bit of time left with you here today on this Monday. Get it on in here. I'll get to your texts coming up, your comments on the live stream, and we'll wrap things up next, right around the corner. Don't go anywhere. Back after this.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
Grew up on a family farm out past Leland, just born and raised here in the Mississippi Delta. Never really thought about moving out. It's where it's where my roots are. Our family's a big sports family. It was 4 boys and 1 girl. and all 4 of us boys went and played ball at Delta Community College. My dad, he's always been honestly a role model of mine. He's farmed his whole life. We attend St. James Catholic Church in Leland, where we went to church my whole life, and then now continuing my family, me and my wife and my 3 kids. Being a Christian is everything for me and my family. Being born and raised here in this area, there's just something about this area. I mean, when you pull into it, you don't see a whole lot, but being born and raised here and the farm families and just the people that grew up here, the people that you see here, you see in the grocery store, you go to church with, small town community, you're gonna run into people that you know. It puts a smile on your face knowing that you know the people in your area, in your community. You get to know them as friends and now bring them in to my office here and creating that relationship, extending it on, getting them as insureds, as customers of mine, who I call friend. I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau, and we are the home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. When I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com.
To satisfy that special hunger?
Not here, because you've got Man Wyatt.
Oh, I am starving.
Don't worry, he's got a menu full on the Zone 105.9 and worldwide at the Zone 105.9.com.
Back with you. Back with you. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau Insurance. Go! The home team. They are your home team. Happy St. Patrick's Day. That's what I meant to ask Beaver. That's what I meant to ask him. Forgot. I was going to ask Beaver if he celebrates St. Patrick's Day. Hey, Beav, you wearing green?
Of course, man.
Okay.
I respect the rules. I'm absolutely disgusted, and I was fully expecting it, though. So I can't be surprised. But, I mean, they're talking to Jake. Nope, no green. And then, of course, I saw our boss over here just walk by.
Yep.
0 green, which is interesting because he's driven by 100%, only cares about money. So I'm surprised he's not. But nobody respects the rules anymore.
Well, what rules? You say it's a rule? I mean, is rule the right word for green on St. Patty's Day? It's more of a tradition?
No, it's a rule.
Okay.
It's a downright rule.
Okay. I couldn't think of it earlier, though. Patty's Pub. That's why it made me think of Always Sunny on St. Patrick's Day, because of Patty's Pub. Isn't that related? Kind of, sort of, somewhat?
Yes. And look, let me tell you, when you mentioned Patty's Pub, specifically since we're talking about wearing green, man, I will never forget back in the day. You know, a lot of times people say stuff to try to sound cool or whatever. Okay. I remember it was the guy who used to host the afternoon show before Jake here. This was 2014. And I'm in here, and I was wearing a Patty's Pub shirt.
Okay.
It was Patty's Pub, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I mean, it was directly it was from the show, obviously.
Uh-huh.
This guy, I mean, this is the first time I ever met him. He goes, "Oh, man, I've been there a few times." Well, no, you haven't.
Oh, Beaver. That's like, it's embarrassingly awkward, but funny. Yeah. Claiming. It'd be like somebody going, you're wearing a Dunder Mifflin t-shirt. Yep. I've been there. Been to Dunder Mifflin. Been there. No, you haven't. Beaver said, no, you haven't. Well, there we go. He celebrates it.
One more note. I'm sorry.
No,
now
jump
that
in.
we've directly referenced Dunder Mifflin and we're talking about shirts and whatnot, I also will never forget the day that I was wearing a Dunder Mifflin shirt, and Jake was sitting here and he goes, "Oh, it was during the show." He randomly looks at me, and it takes him a little while to notice things sometimes.
Yeah.
And he said, "Dunder Mifflin, is that from The Office?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, is that little warehouse they had downstairs?" Like he thought that Dunder Mifflin, its entirety, was just the warehouse.
Why would he think that? I mean, where did he come up with that idea? That's great. My man Jake. Happy St. Patty's Day. And let's go over to the phone line, the Davini Equipment phone line. A man that's green with envy. More Bully on line one. Hey, More Bully.
Welcome back, Matt.
Thanks, buddy. Good to be back.
Hey, I wanted to tell you something. You know,
I figured that.
Down there at the beach, well, first of all, I used to be in the restaurant business.
Okay.
I was actually I was a marketing person for a chain of restaurants.
Okay.
And we had restaurants on the beach and in the tourist areas. And there's 3 different prices that we use. One, it was 3 different menus. Well, actually, just 2 different menus. It's on-season price, off-season price, and you can show your license some places if you're a local.
Okay.
And get, regular price every time.
Okay.
So that's why it's more expensive.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of like a ballpark. They got you there.
Yep. That's right. That's right.
That's just the way it is. Hey, did you see the playoff this morning?
No. What happened?
Well, Rory won by 3, I think.
Wait a minute. Rory McIlroy just won the Players this morning?
Yeah.
My goodness. Yeah. I forgot it was on there.
St. Patty's Day.
Isn't that cool? Yeah, that's neat. That's neat.
Well, it's cool, but he said, it's kind of cool to win on St. Patty's Day. The problem is it's 10 o'clock in the morning and I can't have a drink.
It's too early. Yeah.
So he said he was going to take care of that tonight and pay for it tomorrow.
Yeah. There you go. Well,
and Beaver
what? No. Beaver what?
Hey, so I forgot I was going to tell Beaver, but listen, Beaver, the only thing I like about celebrities getting involved in, I guess, public interest is when they support natural disaster cleanups and, all that good stuff. Well, bad stuff that's good, they're doing good.
More bully.
Right now, Matt.
Are you a Bono? What's his name? Are you a U2 fan? No. Okay.
Nope.
All right.
Never have been. Never will be.
Okay.
But we got a lot of problems going on in Mississippi from that weather over the weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it was 4 cities were hit pretty badly.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to keep them in our prayers. But I tell you, I didn't watch any baseball this weekend, and it justifies me watching all of the Players championship this weekend.
Yeah, you didn't miss much. That's for sure.
Nope, sure didn't. Yep.
All right.
That's it, brother.
All right.
All right.
Appreciate the call. Brando on line 2. What's up, Brando?
Matthew, how are you?
Just right. How about you? How are you?
Good. Hey, I went to, I'm an Ole Miss fan, but sometimes you have to do things with the missus you don't want to do.
Okay.
She's got a daughter a senior state.
Okay.
A couple of weekends ago, I went to Duty Noble, and I hadn't been in years, but y'all got it going on out there, man. I got to admit. You know, you just be walking by and the bleachers and up pops some smoking, probably some country pleasing, just all grills everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I went camping with B this past weekend. This is really weird for me. If you can ask him what's going on, he kept wanting me to call him his little leprechaun. I don't understand. Well, I don't know what the meaning is behind that. Hey, real quick, talking about drinks, I saw a reel the other day, and I wish I would have saved it, but they say you can go to Sonic and ask for, like, Sprite and strawberry soda or strawberry syrup with some sweet cream that they add to it, and it looked amazing. So if anybody out there's tried that, just let me know. If you could play the Twinkle Toes song with Little Leprechaun, y'all have a good day.
All right. Thanks. Just for you, Brando. What did he say you ordered? Sprite and what? I didn't hear it either. Something, though. Some secret code drink you can get at Sonic. What does that Beaver wanted him to call him his little leprechaun? Man. Jason in Flagstaff texted. He said, I hate you, by the way. Spring break and 2 days before dumped 3 feet of snow here. Oh, man. Well, it took long enough, didn't it? You've been waiting on that snow for 2 months. Mac in Vicksburg, he texted the show and he said, how often do you see Lamona show any kind of emotion? He'll get after an umpire every now and then. And then he said, it still doesn't sit right with me that U2 put their album on my phone without asking. What? 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 You mean you just looked up there one day and it was on there?
Yeah. It's about, I want to say it was 2014.
Okay.
They came out with an album, and they had this deal with Apple Music, and Apple Music literally shoved the U2 album on people's phones. They said, here, listen to this, whether you want it or not, it's on your phone now.
Really? I vaguely remember that. You didn't ask for it, it's just all of a sudden it's there. Sounds like you and Mac both have an issue with you two. You're just not a big. You still haven't found what you're looking for. I'm sorry. I should not have repeated the same joke. Beav, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm glad I held out and I saved your cake for you.
That's
Still
what
got it.
I was hoping for. We're going to try it tomorrow live on the air. The all-new soft-baked nutter butter cream pie from Little Debbie. Beef said he was majorly disappointed when he tried it. All right, happy St. Patrick's Day. It ain't easy being green. Just ask Kermit. For Beaver, I'm Matt. All of us here on the show. We'll see you tomorrow.